What is up, you guys? It's your boy Phoenix Brenton here, and welcome to today's video. In today's video, we're going to be doing the Coach Hot Seat. So what do I mean is, we're going to be talking about every single coach in the NFL, and we're going to see which seat is the hottest and which seat is the coldest. And before we get into today's video, I think I am going to not include every single head coach that hasn't, like, for instance, that just got hired. So that's probably going to include like 8 teams or something like that, but just because I'm not very sure. But I think I will also explore some of the options of some of these head coaches, though. But we also got my tiers as well. We have the IDK. That's probably going to be where a lot of new coaches will be. You have the ice seat, which means they are not going to probably get, like, there's a 99% sure that I'm pretty sure they're going to have a job next year. They have the kind of cold seat where it's like, I'm not 100% sure they're going to get fired, but I could see a scenario where they get fired. Then we got the warm seat, which is a seat that is like, it's kind of like a 50-50 of whether or not they're actually going to get fired next year. And then there's the extreme heat seat, which I have this for the teams that are, like, if they don't have a good season, they're probably going to get fired. But that's just me. And I saw some YouTubers doing this, so I think Wyatt World was one of the YouTubers that I saw, so shout out to him for a little bit of this idea. And also, I just recently did the Jets video, which I don't know if this is before or after, but you'll see when we get to there, and I'm going to explain what I mean by that. So let's start off with, and also we're going to go through AFC East all the way to AFC West, and then NFC East all the way to NFC West in terms of coaches. Let's start off with the Miami Dolphins, and since this is another, again, these are one of the new head coaches, I'm going to put in the IDK scenario. I'm not very sure about this team and how they're actually going to fit, but we'll just wait and see. I think we're just going to wait and see whether or not this team will actually be. But I kind of doubt he's going to get fired just because of the factor that, you know, he just got hired on what is arguably one of the worst freaking teams in the league. But that's just me. Then we got the Buffalo Bills next, and they had Joe Brady, who's another new head coach. So I think I'm gonna put him. I'm not gonna put him in the IDK list. I think his seat is kind of cold. Honestly, this is kind of a fair category for literally every single new head coach almost, because it's like they could potentially get fired depending on how the season goes, but they also probably will have a job next year, because there's not a lot of head coaches in the league that do get fired in their first season. The reason why I put him here is because I feel like the Bills fans, like again, the Bills are looking for a Super Bowl. But they've been looking for a Super Bowl for the past 5 years. So I think if they don't at least make it to the playoffs, there is a scenario where Joe Brady does end up getting fired, in my opinion, I think. Then we got the first non-new head coach, which is the New England Patriots. If it weren't for the scandals that Mike Vrabel has had, I would put him in ice. But because of the scandals, I think I am going to put him in the kind of cold category. Just though I think it is a more... And I think he has a much... And actually, I think I'm going to rank it like this. Whoever's on the top of the tier list is the most likely to get fired. And then on the bottom is who I think is least likely. So here I have the Patriots on the top, mainly because I am a little convinced to put him in the warm category, but not entirely, because, again, of the scandals. Outside of that, I mean, he's probably going to have a job next year. Then we have the New York Jets. I mean, there's a reason why I put them in a video for a reason, and we're putting them in the extreme heat category. I will say it once and I'll say it again. Aaron Glenn is the worst head coach heading into the 2026 season. I was not a big fan when this hire was announced, and I'm not a big fan now that he is on the Jets. I mean, for crying out loud, they haven't recorded an interception last year. That sounds unheard of, because it is. I think they were the first team ever to do it. Or, like, since, like, the 60s or something. I'm not even sure. That's how bad that is. Actually, you know, thinking about it, I think I'll just put the Buffalo Bills in the IDK list. Just because I'm not sure. Next, we have the Baltimore Ravens, and same thing. It's a new head coach. I'm going to put him in here. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Then we have the Cincinnati Bengals. I think... You know what? I'm actually going to change the warm seat to the hot seat, and then the kind of cold is like the warm category. Like the warm category. I think that's fair. I think that's how I should rank it, because the reason why I'm saying that is because Zach Taylor's on the hot seat. I think everybody can agree with this. Like, you have missed the playoffs for how many years straight now? 3, 4? I don't even remember. But it's been a while since this team has actually made it to the playoffs, and this team was in the Super Bowl and in the AFC Championship game those 2 years in a row when they were in the playoffs. Which is why literally the only reason why I think the Bengals were holding on to him is because they made it to a Super Bowl and in a championship game twice. But that's it. Cleveland, again, it's a new head coach. I don't really have much to say, but I wouldn't be surprised he could potentially be fired. I'll just say that. Then we got Pittsburgh. Now, this is a little bit of an interesting one because there are a couple of teams that did this, whereas like they hired a head coach that already has been hired before, multiple times even, in fact. And I think his seat is definitely in the warm seat. I think it's actually probably, I'd say below New England. Just because, again, this is his first year, like, but again, it's kind of like you need to win a playoff game, and that's kind of what I bet you the Steelers are kind of hoping for. Houston Texans, I'm not sure, to be honest with you, because it's like, obviously, it's not in the warm, I think. Or it's either the warm seat or the ice. And I think I'm just barely going to put him in the ice category. Now, I know people are going to be like, what? What do you mean he could be in the warm seat? Let me explain. All right. The Baker Minds has obviously made it to the AFC divisional round 3 straight years, which is the furthest the Houston Texans franchise has ever made it. But here's the problem with that. Sean McDermott, they fired him, right? He's at least made it to an AFC Championship game. You can't say that much with Houston. Houston, they haven't. And you haven't either. And I understand, this is kind of like the case of, I just like Robert Saleh is like the greatest example of this. It's like, yeah, you're a great defensive head coach. You're just not making a good offense. That's the problem. And I think that's kind of the problem with DeMeco Ryans, which is why I think it's kind of hard for me to really put him in the ice category. Next, we have the Indianapolis Colts, and this really hurts because I really do like Shane Steichen a lot. But he's on the hot seat. He actually, in fact, I think is in the bottom of the extreme heat category. The main reason is because this team, for so many years, have been kind of just a mediocre team and never have made it to the playoffs. I mean, I think the last time they made it was when Phillip Rivers was at quarterback and before he retired. So there's that. And I know people are going to be like, wait, didn't this team be one of the best teams in the first half of the AFC? Yeah, sure. I mean, that's a good point. I don't think that's going to save his job, though, when this team has probably another mediocre season, as a lot of people are predicting to happen. Next, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars. This one's a cold seat. This one's the ice category for sure. I mean, for crying out loud, this team just made it to the playoffs, and the last time in like 3 years. So I think it's kind of impossible to not put him anywhere but here. Tennessee, where we have the Robert Saleh hire, I think in this case, I think his seat is. I think I put it in the IDK. I'm not very sure. In fact, I'll just put the Pittsburgh Steelers there as well. It's just. I know it's a lot of the new coaches and I know it's a little sad, but it's just kind of how things are going to work with new coaches and stuff. As much as I don't like doing this. Then we have the Denver Broncos, and I mean Sean Payton, his seat is extremely ice. And speaking of which, we have the Chiefs next, and I think his seat is also extremely cold. Actually, I think it's probably the coldest out of any single one of these head coaches. Even if it's like, yeah, he did, after all, just had a pretty bad season in terms of Chiefs standards. But, I mean, the Broncos, I think the Chiefs, Broncos, they come hand in hand. Like, they kind of have been some of the best moments of these franchises. I mean, the Broncos, it's not the best, because obviously you got the John Elway era. While the Chiefs is like, this is the best era of football they've ever been playing. So you do have to consider that. Next is the Raiders. Obviously, this is in the IDK category. I hate that I'm putting every single team here, but there's literally not much of a choice here in the matter. Next we have is the LA Chargers. I think this is the warm category. I think Jim Harbaugh is in the warm category. And I do think... Is it above or below New England? I'd say above. I'd say above. Mainly because... again, not that I hate Jim Harbaugh or anything, right? I'm not saying he's a bad head coach before anybody hates me in the comment section. It's just... He's never won a playoff game. He's never won a playoff game in LA. That's kind of the only reason why I mean, has this team always made it to the playoffs? Yes. But it's kind of like a Mike McCarthy here, almost. It's like, or a Pittsburgh Steelers. It's like, you're good, you just don't do much with it. That's the problem. Next on the list, we have the Dallas Cowboys. And Brian Schottenheimer, I think, is on ice. I think he's probably on the top on the ice category. But he is definitely on ice right now. And the main reason of why is because that was one of the best offenses in the league last year. Brennan, was their defense trash last year? Sure. Was it kind of like what I said with DeMeco Ryans? Yes. Which is, again, why I think he's higher in terms of a hot seat than DeMeco Ryans is. Because of that, and he didn't even have that much success. But you also got to be granted that this team did just trade Micah Parsons before the season even started, which kind of does change things a lot on defense. Next, we got the New York Giants with John Harbaugh. This is another just IDK category. Like, it's going to be waiting to be seen, really. The Philadelphia Eagles, I think out of any seat in the league, Nick Sirianni might be on the hot seat. I mean, if we're talking about fans, it's not even close. It's not even close that he's on the hot seat, or the extreme heat seat. But I think before I don't think I'm going to put him in extreme heat. I think I am going to put him in the hot seat above Zach Taylor. Mainly because it's because of the Eagles fans. I mean, let's be honest with you. I mean, he's won a Super Bowl. There are not a lot of head coaches in the league right now who are still have a head coaching job that have won a Super Bowl in the last 10 years. There's not a lot of them. Mainly because Doug Peterson was. Anyway. Next, we have the Washington Commanders, and I think they're also in the... They're actually in the warm category. Actually, warm or hot? He's kind of in between. So I would say the bottom of the hot seat category. Listen, I like Dan Campbell. I think he's a good head coach, or at least a decent head coach. But like, I mean, for crying out loud, this team went to an NFC Championship game last year, and then this team went to one of the worst teams last year. Of course, you're going to be on the hot seat because that's what is expected. Then you have the Chicago Bears. I mean, oh my lord. I think the Bears would be idiots to fire Ben Johnson. He is definitely in the ice category. I think it's even below Liam Cohen. He is definitely by far one of the coldest head coaches heading into the season. Detroit. Oh, Dan Campbell. I think he has the warmest of the in the warm category. I think he's in the warm category. It's I mean, it's not like I hate the man. Like I love Dan Campbell. I think he's an absolute amazing head coach. He reminds me of one of the current offensive line head coaches on my team, funny enough. But this man is just like again, they had an extreme disappointment year last year. And I think, you kind of have to blame the coaches for that. I mean, I understand the coordinator situation wasn't great last year, but that's not an excuse. I mean, it's like the same reason why Nick Sirianni almost got fired last year was because of the coordinator situation. It's kind of the same thing with him, which is why I have them kind of close to each other, except in different categories. Green Bay Packers. Yeah, he's in the hot seat. I think he's in the bottom of the hot seat category, but he's definitely there. The reason why he is in the hot seat right now is because I think if this team, which could realistically happen, which is them not making it to the playoffs, there's a very good chance he will get fired. There's a very good chance of that. He is on the hot seat even if he just got an extension. Like, granted, I think he will find a job right away. I just don't think he's at all hot or in the colder seat. And speaking of a head coach in the NFC North who has a hotter chance of getting fired this year, we have Kevin O'Connell. And I think he is going to be, honestly, I don't think it's quite on the top of the hot seat category, but he's second above Cincinnati Bengals. Because, again, it's the same thing with Matt LaFleur. If you don't make it to the playoffs, I think you are going to get fired. And that's kind of how that works. And it sucks, too, because I think Kevin O'Connell is, in my opinion, a top 10 head coach in the league, as a lot of people may disagree with that. I think that's honestly kind of the case. But that's just me. And I do think he probably will find himself at a different head coaching job if he ends up getting fired. Atlanta, again, you just hired a new head coach. I think it is probably going to be in the ICE or IDK category. Then you have Carolina with Dave and Canales. I think his seat is... I think it's probably in the bottom of warm. The reason why I say that is because, again, Carolina, I think, had a very unexpected year last year, and now you're like, oh, that's probably a good case for him to be in the ice. But they're going to expect you to do better than what you did last year, and I don't know if they're really going to do that, especially with how their division definitely got better. I mean, Tampa didn't get better, but I think Atlanta definitely got better. New Orleans definitely got better. So I don't know. The NFC South is pretty open, which is why I think he is in the bottom of the warm. And I also think Kevin Moore, he's going to be, though, on the top of the ice category. To be completely honest, I'm not really sure about Kevin O'Connell that much, just because, again, that team sucked last year, and I think a lot of us were expecting them to suck. But I would say Kevin Moore was kind of the reason of why this team did repetitively decent last year. And they are kind of expecting at least somewhere around that same range or be better next year, and I'm not 100% sure whether or not that's going to be the case. Well, speaking of another head coach that's on probably the number one of the extreme heat seats, we have Todd Bowles, who is 100% in the extreme heat below Aaron Glenn. I mean, let's talk about it. Let's talk about this. Right? First of all, you missed the playoffs in the NFC South. This is the first time it's happened in, I don't even remember. Maybe Tom Brady didn't even play on the team. That's the last time you haven't made it into the playoffs. And a lot of people were thinking he was going to get fired last year. I mean, granted, there were some head coaches that people were thinking, oh, you're going to get fired. Mainly because of John Harbaugh being fired. And I think Todd Bowles still did deserve to be fired because Todd Bowles, as a head coach, has only won one playoff game in his entire career. That's not a good thing. You're almost a Cowboys Mike McCarthy, but as a defensive-minded head coach. That's why I can't put you anywhere else. Arizona, I mean, they have a new head coach. I think it's a pretty simple one. He's in the IDK category. We got LA Rams. Sean McVay is definitely in the ice category. I think he's probably colder than even Sean Payton is, just because he's actually won a Super Bowl with the team that he's on. But that's just me. The San Francisco 49ers. This might be a little bit of a controversial take. Like, the fact that I'm not going to put him in the bottom of that ice category. Granted, do I think he's in the ice category? Yes, I think so. But he's going to be on the top of it. I think he could potentially be in the warm seat as well. The reason why I keep saying this, like, I mean, again, do I expect him to be fired? No, I don't. But out of all of the ice head coaches in here right now, I think he's probably the most likely to get fired. I think he's the most likely. And it's mainly because, yeah, you've made it to Super Bowls. You haven't won any, right? And you keep using injuries as an excuse. That's why I put him in the top of the ice category. Then we have the last one, which is the defending Super Bowl champions, the Seattle Seahawks. And I think they're definitely in the bottom. I think he is even maybe more colder than... No, I think Sean McVay is colder. I mean, I feel like the 4, 5, like, I think the Bears, Broncos, Seahawks, Rams, Chiefs, they're all pretty interchangeable in terms of who's going to be on the ice. The most thickest of ice. But that's just me. It's very, very hard to predict between those five. I mean, come on. Mike McDonald has won a Super Bowl. I don't think he's going to get fired next year. Even if they had, like, a Rams-like Super Bowl hangover. But whatever. But anyways, guys, that is going to be it for today's video. And I hope you guys have a fantastic day. And I'll see you guys on the next one.